Allison Ferris. I grew up in Northwest Pennsylvania, about a half hour south of Erie. I did my undergraduate at a small liberal arts college in upstate New York called Elmira College. From there I came actually to what was then MCP Hahnemann School of Medicine and is now Drexel University College of Medicine. I started there in 2001, graduating in 2005. I elected to stay at Hahnemann and Drexel for my internship and residency, and I was asked to be a chief resident afterwards, which I did, completing in 2009. And since then I've been an assistant professor of medicine here at Drexel. My specialty is general internal medicine, and I started off initially doing medical student education, overseeing the medicine sub-I, and I transitioned after 3 years to being an associate program director for our internal medicine residency. I chose general medicine for a few reasons. First of all, I think you go into medical school and your goal is, well, first it's just to finish, but then after that you sort of figure out, well, where do you feel most at home? And I think I felt most at home with the other internal medicine doctors. And when it came to specialty, there wasn't anything that I felt super passionate about. I felt like if I was going to go into cardiology that I'd miss things about the GI tract, or if I went into GI I'd miss things about, pulmonary physiology. So I really didn't feel that I, was strongly drawn to any one field. What I really liked is sort of looking at the big picture. I pride myself in sort of always paying attention to what's best for the overall patient, not necessarily what's best for one organ and system. Of course, I think my favorite part about doing general medicine is the patients. Every day I get to see people that I've been developing relationships with and I continue to have relationships with, and to me it's a wonderful thing. I enjoy the challenge that it brings. I enjoy the puzzle aspect of it, the problem solving, and of course just the support that I can give my patients. My day-to-day life is controlled chaos. So I typically get up around 4:15 or 4:20 in the morning. I work out at home. I shower and get ready, come to work. I take the train to work, so commute a relatively far distance, but it's a nice ride. When I get to work, usually between 7 and 7:30, I start off with sort of looking at my events of the day. Some days I'm doing residency things such as residency interviews, recruitment, overseeing evaluations, dealing with problem residents. I spend half of each day in the outpatient office. It usually ends up being 2/3 of the day, just because people need to be seen. And I fill in the rest of the time with follow-up phone calls to people, working on some projects within the residency program, as well as with some of the national committees that I serve on. Winning this award it's very humbling in a way, because I don't know that I did anything special to get this. I volunteered to help out with the ACP regional events, and in doing so and in participating a couple years in a row, when the opportunity came to be co-chair and to host it, I said yes. It just seemed like the right thing to do and the logical thing to do. It's been a lot of fun. I've met some really great people from the area. I feel as though I've got colleagues all across the city and the sort of tri-state area who I've met through these events, and I think it's an exciting thing. It's an honor to get any award. When it came time to think about what type of practice I wanted to have, I actually never even considered anything other than an academic practice. I like to see patients. I very much enjoy my outpatient practice, but I love also the idea that I can help influence the next generation of physicians. So being in a private practice, yes, I could have rotating students with me, I could have learners with me, but it's not the same. So it was never a question. I've never desired private practice. I don't know that I'm truly cut out for it, because I'm not sure I can do a 5-day-a-week outpatient setting. But I think academic medicine and being around medical students and residents and training is it's the place for me. I think The one thing I would tell students is you're going to feel as though medical school is just the busiest time of your life. And it's not. So I think the thing to keep in mind is, I know you want to get good grades, and I know you want to focus on, acing this test and getting the highest step 1 score and the highest step 2 score. But I think at the end of the day, you have to remember that, yes, grades are important, but they're not the be all and end all. They don't define who you are as an individual. And I think what really is going to turn things around, and I think what you need to focus on is making sure you're paying attention to current events, paying attention to, things that are going to impact your careers. Things like, being in touch with what's happening politically, what's happening with Medicare, what's happening with Affordable Care Act, what's happening with the cost of insulin. And I think as students, you have to take those times out to stay active. You can't stay isolated in the library and just worry about a test score, because those scores aren't going to mean anything if healthcare is so messed up by the time you guys are into it. Step back, take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay from a test standpoint. And take those few minutes to make phone calls or take a half a day to do the action day on Washington. I think the more you can be involved now, the better it's going to be for your future.